in the orb of wisdom at the tree of knowledge, the orb of the dragon of the four seasons upon this earth in relation to the church, dragon with 7 heads and 10 crowns, and the 8th the same as the 7th and set for destruction. I have walked in many countenances of the kings and the lords through the Lord of hosts, which can only be found in the Trinity, and the worldly sacrifices involving salvation and redemption, or purity and wisdom, or family members who have lost themselves in great worldly destruction, finding out where they are, who they lost, or family spirits, where they belong, where they go, things like that. Understanding the written um, analogies of the watchers of heaven, or the watchers of hell sanctuary, and the watchers of the earth, understanding that they are said in the book of Enoch to come down and pollute themselves with woman, like the many sons of men do, in the term polluting, meaning law, war, violence, hatred, anger, um, conflict in every kind of way. The watchers of heaven that leave their post for a preacher woman, mostly uh, spiritual situations involve a church with baptism. Uh, Hercules' time, in his time with uh, Artaxerxes and the great king pig who took the head of his mother, Circe, after being consummated with the great uh, god known as Zeus, or godlike Zeus, the consummation of Hercules and the great anger and hatred Herod had found in Hercules' upbringing. If this is to say that they are called posts, the watchers of the earth have their posts, and granted, the exalt in judges, police officers, um, senators, governors, presidents, granted that the watchers of the earth, they have connection to um, hell sanctuary through the shepherd, and in this exalt with a church preacher of something that is vile. Let's say that a governor, just this is just an hypothetical instance of speaking to what is written in the Bible. Governors, the name governor is written in the Bible. All right, let's say that a governor um, has a lot of money in something, and it required children for covenants of God, livestock sacrifice, children of God, and them people who have grown lazy and tired and without and with nothing, that have lost their youthful spirits, and the man who was artistic or um, full of energy to act out, and people love it, and this, that, and the other, but the man on TV only looks good, and in real life he's vile. He's really ugly inside. That exalt and the preacher woman, the preacher's woman, or the preacher's wife, that exalt where they made a lot of money wasting it upon a man to burn for a theft of fire, that watcher of the world, and the many dead that lives, the dead that lives in this earth is everywhere. Everywhere you go, the dead is alive. Those are watchers of the earth that have no salvation. But through the shepherd with wisdom gifted by the Trinity, um, the watchers of the heaven who come down and pollute themselves with that preacher's wife, the woman, who seeks the sons of men who have polluted themselves with woman, like it says in the book of Enoch. Most likely, it will not be a person in a house that has this much ordained ministry to exalt something so vile. It will be somebody that has money in their pocket. But if that watcher in heaven leaves its post, that God, this is in scenario to Hercules, that God himself may not have wisdom of the things that are going on with the shepherd in the union with the brother in the watcher, between hell and the earth, the watcher. Then Hercules, who was said to have slewed his whole family, trust me, if the law goes that far, your family is already dead. And if you don't, if you were put in Hercules' shoes in a situation where the watchers had even chosen this vile exalt, they had chosen money over, and it says that in the end times, even the watchers will be judged. It says that in the Bible, but nothing can be really stated as true, for nobody will know the actual hour of the final end, where angels and demons come down and fight this Dead Sea Scroll again between man and woman, interracial relationships, and the law that practices with those consummations of killing oneself for the practice of law, or the raping of our households by it, or even people who have made a lot of money and wasted a church and a preacher who pollutes herself. And I call a preacher man is with a woman herself. It is written in every kind of analogy that woman in this world rule. In the earthly world where money, war, law, anger, violence, hatred, it's woman. It's all because when you're by yourself without a woman in most cases, or vice versa, even a woman without a man, you are at peace with nature. And until that weed of irritation comes rolling in, they say, which is the seventh sin, the great pig pulled from the bosom of the king, the true author, that king of all 12 tribes, the true author of the Bible, that true author, the master chef of alchemy, that spell, that binding spell to each covenant made with God's children, that binding runic to each covenant made, um, that binding um, curse to each covenant that God had made, and so on. That master chef who had that pig pulled from his bosom, and intellectual property theft, whether it was in his young age, uh, an injured uh, right side of his face, and the dragon, likewise, the injured dragon head, Michael the archangel, was noted with Odin, and in Odin's time gave birth to Beowulf, and Beowulf consummated Caesar. And this is between two realms, um, the realms in the heaven and the realms in the earth, who had chosen to kill themselves from their father or from their God or from their star and be born in this earth and um, live in the fleshly ill disease of sin, which is established with Hades, their brother Orion, and all of their favored loyal subjects to carry the ark of fertility through to the end when the world can't seem to get its um, marbles straight in their brain, especially in situations like Hercules or Jesus or all the other great historical people written in the Bible, the prophets who are stoned to death. Um, if they can't get their marbles straight. And the law actually goes so far as to do this. Trust me, your family is already dead. And Hercules, I understand clearly that the position that he was put in, that he was in prison and they would not let go. It was said to be the Pharaoh, and um, still to this day, it is said to be the Pharaoh. And well, in the ark, the two witnesses, the penis fish and the earthworm, I have recordings of all of these things to say that these things actually did exist. And the rod of the church is childbirth, the three woe. And those are the two witnesses in the ark with the favored Jesus Christ as the Savior. This is either the Pharaoh is the pig or the Pharaoh is the Trinity, one or the other, but there is a Savior. And this is the irony of what Hercules went through before he slew his entire family, and the attachment of Jesus, the brother that I had made a commandment to stand strong that thou may not be defrauded by a brother, that the law and all the vainglories, all the great artists, all the idols, all the movie actors, all the governors, senators, presidents, they're all clothed in youthful spirits or covenants that belong to that ark, that Savior, that Jesus Christ, that only power used as a sacrificial name. And this is throughout the entire world. The entire world. I don't know other religions, but in America, um, the religion with the Pharaoh is sacrificing his name and holding on to God's children, thieving fire from them, wisdom, knowledge, understanding, and, well, trying to incarcerate them so that the head that is with God as a shepherd, one who can salvage the head be taken. It's been practiced upon me before, and I'm not saying these things out of any kind of hatred or anger. A man learns a lesson um, by being humble to the enemy. But in defense, wisdom is spoken and kept in a memoir for the further adventures of, well, there are other realms, there are other ways to see the world, there are other kings that make covenant, the adventure.